and they just beat a very solid team in the Monkeys. So who knows? Who knows? We'll just have to find out.
Yeah, both these teams, of course, coming in after round 1 of the Swiss. That happens off stream, so we can get into the second round action. And Giants ended up beating S2V 3-1, and Libertas ended up beating Monkeys 3-1. So similar starts to today, hoping that each of these teams individually will be getting their second win, so they can very quickly get through as fast as they can. But Mike Boy starting the pressure off, sends it high towards Zamway and keeps the pressure on, this time feeding the ball over towards Tox. And once again, Mike Boy, you said about the Spanish guys and how much pressure they can keep on and how cleanly they can rotate. That must be the hardest way, the hardest style to play against.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, that's exactly the entire sort of theory behind that strategy. You just sort of squeeze your opponents into eventually making a mistake or until they get boost starved and you get some room to work with. It's super difficult to play against, and not only is it hard, it's really frustrating. It's annoying, and it can really throw you off your game.
I mean, Libertas are going to need to put in a lot of effort to get going as early as they can, lest Vodafone Giants do get an early goal, and an early goal is what they have got. As Zamway bumps Rix in the net, Stake can go in for an open goal. Just
textbook pressure play. They just swarm them, dunks the player in the corner, pops off the backboard. I think it was it Zamway who was harassing the keeper in net so that they can't deal with the backboard ball, and the Stake comes in with a nice finish. Just textbook Spanish pressure play.
Zamway attempting to catch it in the mid, but instead it falls to Tox. Will try and recover and does steal that 100 boost out of the back, supporting that fantastic gameplay. The touch from Zamway, can he get the double? No, he can't. That would have been potentially, genuinely, the goal of RLCS X so far. That would have been incredible, but unfortunately it does not go in, as a miss from Mike Boy leaves it to Tox to give it a tap away.
Yeah, a rough start for Libertas. I mean, I know they're piling the pressure on, but if you're gonna, be a top 10 team, you have to be able to deal with defensive balls like that. Very poor mistake from Mike Boy, and now they've got a real uphill climb in this first game.
As if this wasn't hard enough for them. Trying to take down the 3-0 Giants, and Stake will continue to hammer home the point. The Giants are here to play.
Yeah, I didn't even catch this one. What happened here? Great pinch from Zamway, and then Rizex with a bit of a sort of backflip there and got caught under the ball, and Stake, nice easy finish, scores that all day. And then they're coming out swinging here. They're looking dangerous.
Spanish Rocket League, incredibly unforgiving at the best of times, and this seems to be right now for Libertas the worst of times. Rix Ronde attempts to work his way out of his own half for the first time in about a minute. Does so. Stake sends it high. Zamway can get on the end of that. Can this be the fourth? Not quite. Rizex from the backboard. Good positioning. Can shut it down nice and early. Mike Boy air dribbling over to the Tox. Caught by Rix. Central. Rix with the double. Gets it round, but no player from Libertas able to get on the end of it. And so Zamway can pinch it far. But pressure kept on by Mike Boy. The pressure is mounting. Will a goal come out? Not just yet. As now the counter-attack can form for the Giants.
Yeah, I think situations like that, Libertas need to use that. They've conceded again. We'll talk about this goal, then I'll get back to that point. A slight overcommit and an unlucky, I should say, touch from Rizex sort of leaves them in a doomed situation. They go 4-0 down. But what I was saying is they need to use their guile and wit when they finally do get pressure to maximize. They're not going to get the ball in their opponent's half all that often, to be honest. So when they do get in their opponent's half, they need to play to their strengths, which for this Libertas team is creativity and, like I said, guile and wit. They need to pop passes that the opponents are expecting. That's 5. Oh my goodness. It's not even. There's no point in talking about their offense. And if you concede 5 goals, it doesn't matter how good you are in offense.
I mean, yeah, it's like sort of teaching a pacifist how to punch at this point. They're probably not going to be using that skill set that you've given them. But 5 goals going in for Vodafone Giants just after half the game has passed. And it's rare that we can say that a game is pretty much done for this early on. But Rix Ronde is going to try and keep that play nice and high. All 3 go for it. Why not? Won't do any damage at this point, will it, lads?
Yeah, I think right now, forget offense, forget tactics. I think if you're Libertas, you just need to, I don't know, come
just
back
ball
from
chase,
emotion.
right? Like, try this game ultimately to try and not sort of rub it in too much, it was over before it had started. Like there's not really been any chances so far. There's been literally one shot by Rizex. Meanwhile, there's been 9 for Giants, and they've had half of them. They've got a 50% shooting percentage there or thereabouts. And Libertas in that one phase of play doubled their shots. Like, you've got to be realistic, I feel.
Yeah, you just got to get some plays going. Try and get the positive energy back. You know, the game's done. Let's be real. You just need to maybe score some nice goals, do some nice plays, just get a bit of confidence back for the next game, where you might actually be able to do something about the result.
Yeah, it's definitely a time where Libertas need their coach Juicy to step in, give them a couple of words, say, look, guys, we knew that Giants would be hard. Maybe even we knew that we would do well to take a game or two off them. But it's what this format is so scary. After you've had one match and you win it, you pretty much know you're going to go up against the top team. And it's a tough position to be in. I mean, sometimes you'll lose and you'll still go up against a top team like Vitality today, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, you say, hey, we'd be pretty proud of ourselves if we got a game or two off Giants. But I think that's a pretty weak mindset to have.
These guys, a weak man, yeah.
These guys aren't here to come fifth and be happy with that.
Course,
these guys want to come out and win as much tournaments as possible, win as much money as possible, get as much glory as possible. They're coming into this game to try and beat the Giants. There's no doubt about it. They want to beat the Giants. They've beaten some big teams recently, so
definitely.
They need to just go out there and play their game.
Libertas do have what it takes. This is a very, very rough game one, and instead of talking just about the fact that Libertas have been slapped left, right, and centre just consistently from the first minute, I think we should praise the fact that Giants have been able to do that. You said that Libertas have beaten some top teams. I mean, last weekend they managed to take down Oxygen. That was their... No, sorry, they ended up falling to Oxygen in the end, rather. They took down Guild, probably their biggest win, to be honest. It went to 5, but it's still a very big win. It got them through at 3-1. So Giants putting on a gigantic amount of pressure there, holding Libertas back to their own third more often than you would see a lot of teams ever be held back. And yeah, great pressure from the pressuring Spanish team. What else did we expect?
Yeah, they were just a bit too good in that first game. I think Libertas, as well as Giants played, I think Libertas were pretty rubbish, to be completely honest. A couple of the goals were quite nicely done, but I think in all 6 of the goals you can probably point to a pretty large defensive mistake. I mean, that is what the pressure players do to you. They force you into mistakes, but a lot of them were really quite soft mistakes indeed. They'll need to play a lot better if they're going to get a result today. Yep. I
mean, I definitely back them to. I feel like we both do, where they have had decent results. Why can't this be one of them? It's going to be a challenge, but, let's go forward as Libertas and see if we can win this. That should be their mindset. I also always like it when you see players take their time to ready up on the losing team, because you know that there's a conversation happening. You know that they're chatting about something. If it's the coach, if it's one of their players, their in-game leader, whatever it ends up being. So hopefully we see a renewed Libertas in this match, but Steak gets the first goal within 7 seconds.
Oh, that is going to hurt. That can imagine Libertas having like a nice peppy team talk, like, come on lads, let's go out there swinging, let's do this, and then they immediately concede within 7 seconds. To be fair, it was a nice goal. Great little drop down from Zamwe. At least that goal wasn't through some horrible error on Libertas' behalf.
But the first goal coming in incredibly early, not what the lads of Libertas will be wanting. The team pinch coming out for the Giants. Rizex over towards Luxronde, who does end up side flipping. Mike Boy can take his place on that right wing, but intercepted by Tox. Rix central. Rizex up. Rix, can he get that first goal? Not quite. Mike Boy, though, keeping that pressure on. And central forces 2 of the Giants defenders to go up for it. And Steak uses all of his boost to get to that one. Mike Boy thinning out the defense, too. Lots of pressure being able to be formed now. Different side of Libertas we're seeing.
Yep, the first sort of positive signs coming through. The first sort of positive signs are coming through here. So Rix Ronde there, nice little pass mid, and then he chased the keeper for the bump. It didn't quite come off for them, but on another day, You know, he would have got the
Exactly.
bump, and they would have equalized. They're at least going for their plays, coming up with, you know, smart decisions, coming up with creative plays. They're looking a little bit better so far. They also haven't beamed it on defense yet, which is nice to see.
Hopefully that good offense is going to be able to continue. As Tox will catch it central. As it goes low, Rizex will probably catch that. And it booms it in the middle. I would have liked to have seen him catch that and then work his way out of defense. Luring a defender. Luring a midfielder, but that's open towards the back as Rix keeps the pressure on and can get the boost steal. The pressure is able to continue. The bump coming out from Rix. Doesn't quite land though. There's another weak touch in the center from Rizex. I'd like to see more dribbling from defense. Like I said, lure out the defender or two.
Yeah, I think Rix Ronde is really your dribbler on the team, and I've been on his cam for the last minute or so, and he's barely left the Giants' half. I think you want Rix at the back, coming up with those dribbles and relieving pressure that way and creating space that way by taking players out of the game. Rix, for me, isn't the player that you want, you know, mosquitoing about in your opponent's half, harassing people. They get an equalizer though. Well played.
Libertas, they got their first goal after being 7 goals down in total. Zanwei finally gifted them a shot. Not a great miss by Zanwei, but Mike Boy is there to sink it in regardless. 1 minute 15, sorry, 2:15 have gone. Now on the kickoff, Mike Boy can send it into the Giants half, cleared by Tox and reciprocated by Rix Ronde. Another mistouch. A couple of mistouches now coming out for the Giants.
Yeah, sometimes when you absolutely smash the team in the first game, you go into the second game with a bit of not ego, but you feel like, oh, these guys are rubbish, you know, and you sort of lose focus a little bit. And we might be seeing that a bit here, because it's not just, you know, Zamway's mistake there. We saw Steak as well, just sort of flop past the ball. You know, they need to really sharpen up and remember that Libertas are usually a lot better than that first game.
Rix passed down towards Mike Boy, but he can't get it in. Rizex, though, underneath the defender. Steak gets caught out by Rizex, and now on that left wall, Rix Ronde again catches Steak out. Being beaten to the ball over and over again. As Tox can clear. Zamway decides not to turn to get that touch on, as Rizex does go for the double. While that was going towards the middle, though, Steak manages to intercept. Now, a lot of backboard play here. Tox filling in that backboard role as well, and so far, not much has really got past him, as Steak can get it past the defender, but none of the Giants boys are there to finish. And good dribble out, Rix, exactly as you said, taking somebody out of the play.
Yeah, I think the receiver on the pass there was lurking a bit too far forward. When you're dribbling, it's nice to have an option forward, but when you're dribbling, it's hard to get a lot of pace on the ball out of nowhere. So you really want your passing options to be adjacent to you or behind you, because you're not, if they're in front of you, you're not going to get the pace on the ball required to make it an effective pass. You know, when you're receiving a pass from directly behind you, you need a lot of pace on the ball. And, you know, if you're lurking too far forward, you're just not going to get that.
Rix Ronde attempting multiple times to send it with pace towards any of his teammates. And Rizex will now return the favor. As we approach the 45 seconds remaining mark, both these teams are now even after a smashing in game 1 in favor of Giants. They've looked a lot more muted in this. The shots have been considerably less as well, totaling just 2 for the Giants. Meanwhile, Libertas, they're sitting pretty on 7. So a lot more offensive chances, and they have been taken for Libertas too. Now, 25 seconds remaining. Rix, not too much boost, challenge that, but will fake Steak out. Rizex, good backboard play, can clear it towards Mike Boy. Then intercepted by Tox. Down the side. Zamway high, that's going to be a chance, but Rizex intercepting fantastically. Final 10 seconds. I would have loved to have seen Rix take a touch there, but he opts not to.
I was about to say that was a chance to maybe take his time a little bit more and you know, really make the Giants panic in the last 5 seconds. But he just absolutely clattered the ball into the corner, and it wasn't too difficult to defend. Maybe a little bit panicky from Rix there. Maybe he didn't, you know, a bit more composure there would have really done him some good.
Composure we needed in this overtime as well, as Mike Boy picks it up out of the back. Near enough full boost, can get the dribble over 1. Rizex can't quite fill in the gaps though. As that gets sent long by Zamway. Steak is going to be panicking, and Zamway can finish it as well. The long shot by Zamway sets himself up, and Rix could not deal with it.
Yeah, again their composure would have been very beneficial. definitely looked like a bit of panic on that backboard read. He will not be happy with himself for that one. Rix is a great player, has been for a long time. He will be annoyed at himself for that lack of composure there. He could have waited and maybe popped it off the backboard. He tried to read it early, missed, cost his team the game.
Yeah, I mean, he was left at the back, which is what we kind of wanted him to be, but Zamway completely read it. He knew that Rix had moved up a little bit too far, and so could be caught quite easily on the back foot. Does so, and does end up getting Vodafone Giants the win. Now, Vodafone Giants 2-0 up in this series. One more, and they will go through to playing another 2-0 team. Libertas looking as if they might just be going through play another 1-1 team. By no means out whatsoever, could still make it through, but just making it harder on themselves. Do you see Libertas managing to get a game now? Because I think I do. I think this isn't a 3-0 series necessarily. I'd just like to see more composure.
Yeah, I honestly think this is going to be a 3-0. They definitely made improvements in that game, but it wasn't like night and day. It was like night and dusk. You know, it was slightly better. It was slightly better in that they didn't, mess up on defense the whole game, but like they still looked a little bit unimaginative in offense. They still made a couple defensive mistakes. I think they've just not shown up for this series, and I don't see them fixing it in time to take the series down.
We've already seen Giants want to try and style on Libertas, and Tox, after not getting one of his fancy goals earlier, Stake beats out Mike Boy, and Tox can get it over the top of Rizek, who I don't think knew Tox was there.
Is this a record for the longest Libertas have gone without conceding a goal? 23 seconds, is that the record?
I actually think it might be, which is kind of upsetting because I still consider that a very early goal.
Yeah, they've just really not gotten a grip on this game at all. They'll be pretty annoyed with this. There's still time to fix it and come back with the series, but like they really need to step it up.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot. And I mean, I was saying earlier, Vodafone Giants, we saw that they started to style a bit. The first play that they went for, it was Zamway off the ceiling and wanted to receive the flip reset pass from Stake. Like, he immediately tried to go for something silly, maybe just to get a bit of confidence back. Be like, hey, look, that game never should have gone to overtime. But if we do see some fancy goals, hoping that they do end up being instrumental to the series as well. But Rizex just drew up the pitch, and Zamway being very good this series of intercepting early. He doesn't always get to the ball, but he does make sure that his teammates are more comfortable when it comes to their time to challenge.
Yeah, that's a classic Rocket League move when an opponent is dribbling towards your net. If you come in and harass them, it doesn't matter if you don't get the ball, as long as you sort of make them commit to a play, it means the defender 9 times out of 10 can come and clean it up and get rid of the danger.
Bricks there trying to go for a bump on the keeper as well as the ball rolled towards the net. Couldn't quite connect, but I like the idea. We've not actually seen that many bumps or demos have much of an impact in this series, and I'm a big advocate for demos as my boy tries to go for the double. Rizex, can he get there? All three up! And Rizex can't quite score on that relatively open net, and now Zamway will score on that very open net.
Yeah, Libertas overcommitting quite heavily. Rix Ronde again, he's the last man. He sort of, I feel like he thought he had an open shot, but he was only ever taking a 50. I feel bad saying this because I do like Rix Ronde, but he has had a bit of a nightmare this series. Yeah, I feel bad saying that, but he has really not played his game at all.
I think you're allowed to say it in a cast, you just can't tweet him afterwards with the clip. I think that's when it gets a little bit too far.
Like, hey Rix, is this you? Just a clip him missing the backboard clear.
Yeah, really kind of you to let your little brother play at Rix Ronde. But no, Rix has had a bit of an issue in this series, I think we can all agree, but beauty of Swiss, isn't it? It's not the only time we're going to be seeing Libertas. They will have another chance, and there's still... I really tried, Rix, mate. I really gave that a go to hype you up, pal, but then you've backflipped on a pretty easy shot.
Yeah, it's not looking good, and he is a fantastic player. You know what's weird is like they just beat the Monkeys, who are a very good team. Like they qualified with a 3-1 record last week. And that's 3-0, and really not looking good for Libertas. You gotta think that's probably serious. Rizek's getting caught dilly-dallying, and he gets clobbered, and it's an open goal for Zamway.
Pretty much all of the luck in the air falling to Zamway as well, where he just had to wait and the ball seemed to magnetize itself towards his position. Went off like 3 players that didn't realize they were going to be touching it. But 3-0 now for Vodafone Giants. Zamway wanting to take Mike Boy out of the play. And the in and out save, he jumps too early and Toxin sneak it over the top.
This sort of looks like Libertas has accepted their lot. They sort of seem like they know what's coming. Their mind's already on, you know, their lunch in the next game. You know, crying into their pillow. They're already elsewhere mentally. This series is done, and it's for Libertas now. It's more about, you know, trying to figure out what went wrong for the next matchup.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, Libertas, they ended up beating Monkeys. Monkeys are such a solid team. They are really fantastic on the day, and maybe Monkeys had even bigger problems, which then led to their loss, but I refuse to accept that. I think that series must have been good for Libertas to come out of it with the win, but they will not be coming out of this series with the win, unfortunately, as it's pretty much confirmed that Vodafone Giants will be taking this game. And they'll be going through to round number 3 with 2 wins under their belt. Rizek wants to try and get a confidence goal going forwards, blocked out at the back as Mike Boy keeps the pressure on and goes straight to stake. More hits into nowhere, it feels like.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like they're sort of just accepted their lot. I don't think they're really focusing on exactly what they're doing with the ball. They're just sort of, you know, it's a formality at this point. I'm not going to overanalyze their plays from here on.
I mean, the fact that they got a goal from, it was Tox and Zamway bumping each other in the air, the ball falling onto Zamway, who then just backflips, and then it just happens to fall to stake to then get the goal. I think that pretty much sums this series up. Yeah,
it's been 3 factors, you know. Libertas playing pretty bad, Giants playing pretty great, and then they've gotten a lot of bad luck as well. A lot of the goals were just sort of like, oh my god, that 50-50's landed right at the Giants player's feet, and he's gonna score. You know, they don't have to feel too bad about themselves. They did get unlucky and they did come up against a good team.
I think there's a lot to look at. There's a mountain to look at for Libertas. If they want to be up there in Europe, and this is a performance of a team who is not up there in Europe. Giants, though, let's not be too down on Libertas. Let's pump up Giants, because although they are dealing with a squad that has pretty much given up at the end of this game, which I'm not going to be too annoyed about. I mean, it was, 4-0 with about a minute left. You're going to have a really tough time to come back. Giants have, whenever they have had chances, even in their game where it was the overtime, they've managed to get there. And they have managed to hold Libertas back more than I have seen pretty much any team be held back in Stage 2. Stake there, also getting a fake on Mike Boy. Can he get a flick central to Zamway? He does. Maybe the 8th goal coming out. Won't matter too much. Giants, what a team that they have been, and what a pleasure they are to watch.
Yeah, what a great team. And a big takeaway from this series is that usually you look at Tox as being the best player on the Giants, but Zamway, you know, now Zamway's exploding and playing unbelievable. So now you've got 2 top tier players on your team. You know, they could easily be a top 5 team in the coming months for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think to be honest, they're already quite handily top 4. There's been a couple of teams that have, to be honest, sort of moved out the way so the Giants are able to get that spot. Some of the biggest hitters in European Rocket League have kind of given their cap over towards Giants, giving them that top 4 spot, a little bit of availability. But Giants, fantastic team, going to be going forward into round 3 with a 2-0 record. And if you're coming out of any series against a team with 15 goals to 1, you're going to feel good going into that 3rd round. We don't know who they're going to face yet, but Marky, I wouldn't fancy their chances.
No, I think it would have to be. I'm looking at I'm just going to have a look at the bracket just here. It would have to be like BDS for you not to bet on Giants Gaming. They look formidable at the moment.
Yeah, they do. BDS looking very, very hard. Currently up against Endpoint as well in that series. I'm looking forward to whatever the Giants do end up throwing at us. If you guys want to let us know what you are excited to see coming up on this stream or over on the main broadcast on twitch.tv/Rocket League, make sure that you let us know on Twitter. Tweet using the hashtag RLCSX and please at RL Esports as well, because there is a lot of Rocket League to come. Get your popcorn, get a nice cup of tea, why not, or a sody pop, I don't know what you drink, glass of water maybe you're a hydro homie. Let us know on Twitter. Otherwise, we'll be back after this break with even more Rocket League action. We'll see you soon.